which nullified the election of Senator Ademola Adeleke as governor of Osun State. Consequently, the appellate court affirmed Adeleke as the winner of the state's governorship elections of July 2022. Delivering judgment in the appeal filed by Adeleke on Friday, which is today, a three-member panel of justices held that the tribunal erred when it ruled that the first and second respondents, that is, Gboyega Oyetola and the All Progressives Congress, proved their allegation of overvoting in the July 2022 elections. The court also held that the sum of 500,000 naira is awarded at a cost against the All Progressives Congress (APC) and its candidate Gboyega Oyetola. During the ruling, the justice resolved that the preponderance of proof that there was overvoting in the elections rested on the petitioner. You recall that the Osun State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal in January held that Oyetola was able to prove that there was overvoted in some of the polling units. Consequently, the majority judgment of the tribunal ordered INEC to withdraw the certificate of return issued to Adeleke and issue a fresh one to Oyetola as a duly elected governor of Osun instead. However, being dissatisfied with the ruling of the tribunal, Adeleke appealed the judgment at the Court of Appeal. Barrister Inibehe Effiong, in a brief interview with me earlier, gave a breakdown of the appeal court's judgment. Let's take a listen to him.
All right, so delivering a judgment in the appeal which was filed by Adeleke, the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal in January held that Oyetola was able to prove that there was overvoting in some of the polling units, and consequently, the majority judgment of the tribunal ordered INEC to withdraw the certificate of return issued to Adeleke and issue a fresh one to Oyetola as the duly elected governor of Osun State instead. However, Adeleke appealed the judgment. Now, the court is actually saying that they quashed the judgment of the Osun State Tribunal Court, stating that there was not enough evidence to prove that there was overvoting. They literally nullified the election and said that there was no way that, there was overvoting. They couldn't see any grounds of overvoting. They actually said that a three-member panel of justices held that the tribunal erred when it ruled that the first and second respondents, Gboyega of the All Progressives Congress, proved the allegation of overvoting in the July 2022 elections. So I need you to explain what that means.
What essentially happened is that at the level of the election tribunal, the petitioner, Oyetola, and the APC relied on diverse reports which they had obtained from INEC, showing that by that report there was overvoting in some polling units in the state, which they also upon the tribunal to nullify the election in those units and then now determine the result of the election after the exclusion of those units. However, INEC and the governor Adeleke contended that even though the Beaver's accreditation report relied on by the petitioner was certified by them, but that report, the one they relied on, was not holistic because the saver itself, the Beaver saver itself, clearly showed that there was no overvoting because most people had been accredited in the holistic report that they had come up with from the Beaver, different from what looks like a preliminary Beaver's report that was released. So I think that was the basis for the Court of Appeal judgment. I believe there would have been other reasons for the judgment.
That was basically the main reason.
I personally was of the view that the judgment of the tribunal was questionable on some grounds, including the quite regrettable remarks of the tribunal that Adeleke was dancing, making such comments. Also, raise issues regarding the judgment of the tribunal.
But Barrister, while with the tribunal court set up in Osun State Air, for example, if there was evidence provided, in what way did they peruse what was presented to them and then eventually making the judgment that Oyetola of the All Progressives Congress was actually the winner of Osun State? If they were going to rely on Beavers concerning the fact that they felt Beavers was to prevent such an evidence, in what way did they look at it that made them give that judgment in the first instance?
Well, that is why we have the appellate process under our constitution. When one is not satisfied with the judgment of a court or tribunal, the right of appeal is there, which is what Governor Adeleke had done. At the level of the Court of Appeal, they have their own way of looking at issues. At the appellate level, they can also look at it differently. The matter will eventually be determined by the Supreme Court. As I said, INEC is responsible for what happened because INEC issued conflicting accreditation reports for the Osun election, which ought not to be the case. But then the Court of Appeals may have just looked at the matter in a more broad and accommodating perspective by examining all the diverse reports to see whether on the basis of the evidence before them, the tribunal was right or not. I personally am of the view that if really there was evidence that other than the reports that Oyetola relied on, if INEC had subsequently produced a more comprehensive Beavers report of accreditation to show that there was no overvoting as claimed, then the Court of Appeal may be perfectly right to upturn the judgment of the tribunal.
So, Barrister Inibehe Effiong, is it safe to say that INEC is one of the main contenders in causing most of the confusions, or would I say the electoral infractions that was observed in the elections?
INEC is the author and finisher of the confusion. INEC led the landmines for the judgment of the tribunal by certifying conflicting documents and producing conflicting documents of accreditation where the figures were not reconcilable or were conflicting as it were. So INEC could have avoided this by, being diligent in their work. But apparently diligence had no place in this particular aspect of their functions in Osun State. So I hold INEC entirely responsible for what happened, and I hope that lessons have been learned, hopefully.
In the meantime, a new set of protesters yesterday stormed the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, over the just concluded 2023 general elections, calling on President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately sack the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu. The angry protesters, under the umbrella of the National Youth League for the Defense of Democracy, also demanded an immediate arrest of the INEC chairman by the Directorate of State Security Service. Carrying placards with various inscriptions, the protesters asked the Nigerian government not only to sack Professor Yakubu, but also probe the finances of the Electoral Commission. Addressing journalists at the Unity Fountain where the protest was kick-started, one of the leaders of the group, Dr. Moses Paul, said they expected a new INEC chairman to be appointed to conduct a fresh election that will produce a befitting president for Nigeria. Speaking on this development is Alexander Wilcox, a social commentator and public affairs analyst. Let's take a listen to him.
Demonstration or protest is anybody's constitutional right. Nobody should be denied that inalienable right to express his grievance or protest. It is your right. Again, it must be within the ambit of the law. Because where your own rights start, my own right to start from that point. So if protesting the outcome of the election, which didn't go to your own, didn't go your own way or your own preference, it's your right. Okay? Calling for the sack or arrest for the INEC chairman is also their right to call. It's also the right of the INEC chairman not to resign, not to be called. It's also the right of everybody to exercise their own right. So on what grounds I call for the INEC chairman to be arrested or to resign? So sometimes in this country we play too much. We need to articulate our position. You might have a very good case. But if you don't articulate your case or your position very well, you just become a nuisance to yourself. So if any group, like you call them concerns of Nigeria, feel so strongly about the election, feel so strongly about the INEC chairman, then you have to petition against the INEC chairman. So either the DSS or the police, and then you can go to court as a private citizen to demand for his accountability. Not protest. Protest cannot. What do you want the president to do? The president cannot even cancel an election. The president of Nigeria cannot cancel an election that has been conducted and has been declared. Only the court has that power. So anybody that has a good grievance, a good case, go and take it in the court. It doesn't come for anybody to stand as an able to go and protest at the fountain. If you are right, but of what value is that right? Of what are you trying to achieve? Maybe the people have spent money from politicians, so they have to deliver, and that's why they can organize a right, a protest, and then to see that the money they collect is not for free, so they deliver. But sincerely, I think we should stop playing Nigeria and face things clearly. If you have a genuine case, there are processes to see which your case can be taken to. Go to court, present their case. Look at just today, the appeal court delivered the case against the election tribunal delivered the case. The appeal court has upheld that case. That is the strength of our judiciary. So I don't think anybody going to the streets calling, look, this is citizens against citizens, you know. What is happening now in Nigeria is citizens against citizens. So if other citizens now, other concerned youths now wake up and say, okay, we want to go and protest because we're in favor of what is happening. They have to say their next. So what will happen? Anarchy. So everybody should channel their legitimate grievance to the appropriate authority and let it be addressed. That is all. Nothing more, nothing less.
Elsewhere, the CBN today disclosed it has commenced evacuation of banknotes from its vaults to commercial banks across the country. The statement signed by Acting Director Corporate Communications Department of the CBN, Dr. Isa Abdulmumin, said the evacuation is part of a coordinated effort to ease the circulation of banknotes of various denominations. The statement signed by Acting Director Corporate Communications Department of the CBN, Dr. Isa Abdulmumin, said the evacuation is also one of the reasons why banks should open on Saturday and Sundays. The CBN also directed all commercial banks to do so immediately. In addition, the CBN directed all banks to load their automated teller machines as well as conduct physical operations in the banking halls through the weekends. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said he will personally lead teams to monitor the level of compliance by the banks in various locations across the country on Monday. Reacting to this is Barrister Monday Ubani, civic advocate, former vice president, Nigerian Bar Association. Let's take a listen to him.
CBN deliberately wanted to frustrate Nigerians, and many Nigerians have died. You hear a woman that they refuse her old currency and allowed her to die. We are for us. If I'm that family, I will sue CBN. Those of us have been operating without cash. And then as I speak to you, somebody has called me fraudster because I paid her money through the bank. The money I was debited. I asked my banker, they say it is successful. They even gave me what they call session ID. I said to the lady said she will not accept all that. What she needs is her money in her account. And as long as she has not seen the money in her account, I'm a fraudster. She will flag me, and then they will now even freeze my account. She threatened me. So that is the kind of situation we are in. All of us are under inconvenience, by central bank.
So why didn't the CBN order that banks should be open to accommodate the availability of cash to populate the polity?
They just wanted to punish you and I, which they have succeeded in doing. Emefiele wanted to punish Nigerians, so that's see another one again.
In another development, men of the Ondo Police Command have arrested Pastor Kaide Salami, aged 47, for allegedly raping and killing a nursing mother at Dejoke Oloje. VOP News gathered that the victim was staying in the church with her baby when the incident occurred. Mother of the deceased, Mrs. Deborah, said her daughter left home without any notice until she was found dead in the church. She said her daughter was confirmed dead by doctors on duty at a hospital she was rushed to. However, Pastor Salami denied raping or killing the victim, expressing that he only helped to give her a place to stay. The Ondo police spokesman, SP Fumilayo Odulami Omisanya, said the case has been transferred to Akure for further investigations. On the foreign scene, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has met Benjamin Netanyahu at Downing Street as the Israeli leader faces domestic turmoil over judicial reforms. Mr. Sunak greeted Mr. Netanyahu outside Number 10 before talks over security and the threat from Iran. Mr. Netanyahu will also meet some Home Secretary Suella Braverman on his one-day visit. Hundreds of protesters gathered at the gates of Downing Street to demonstrate against the Israeli Prime Minister's policies. There was a cacophony, including shouts of shame and traitor, as Mr. Netanyahu made the short walk from his convoy to the steps of Number 10. A planned photo opportunity for the media at the start of the talks was cancelled, and there was no joint statement. The visit comes at a time of political turmoil in Israel, with the country gripped by months of some of the biggest demonstrations in its history. Mr. Netanyahu has defied calls to scrap a shake-up of the legal system amid warnings the crisis is not only causing social upheaval but could harm Israel's security. Growing numbers of military reservists are refusing to serve in protest. Thursday saw tens of thousands of Israelis take to the streets across the country in scenes which have been repeated weekly and escalated since the start of the year. To wrap up the world news at 6, let's take a look once again at the headlines. You heard that the appeal court have reversed Adeleke's sack. Fresh protests rock Abuja as protesters demand INEC chairman sack. CBN directs banks to open during the weekends. Ondo pastor arrested for allegedly raping, killing nursing mother. And on the foreign scene, Israel's Netanyahu meets Rishi Sunak at Downing Street amid protest. That is a wrap on the world news at 6 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku. Do follow our social media handles at VOP 903 FM.